Yeah, that gets into the next thing that I want to ask about, which is meditation and mindfulness.
Okay,
So,
cool.
what are your thoughts on this, like in the
Sure.
book, or how it
Yeah,
applies to? Yeah.
absolutely. Just to know where this fits into the way. The way is
Hmm.
broken up into three books. So I have the way, the life manual, and child and family guide. The life manual, within step 5 of the way, there's this whole thing about the foundations of life and how it covers different aspects. And part of that is how we train ourselves, right? Our bodies, our minds, emotions, and spirit. And it breaks it all down. I couldn't cover it all in the first book because this book would have been so huge. So I put all that information in the second book. But on my website, 7wayme, that's the number 7, WAY.me, there's a section for downloads for the book. And within there, there's this meditation um, guide. And I'm just going to walk you through this. There's 2 pages to it. I always put the first page is utilized in one of the meditations. But the second page has 5 different ways to meditate on it. And I'm going to go through those right now. And generally, the whole idea here is we meditate to control our minds. Okay. I started meditating when I was pretty young. I had a lot of issues, obviously. I got into Eastern philosophy, meditation, yoga, all that kind of stuff, martial arts, obviously, when I was really young. And what I learned was you can control your mind to the point where, I mean, before this happened, okay, let me go back. When I was a kid, it's like your mind is running all the time, and it's like TV, right? It's just changing stations. You really kind of have no control of it. When I learned how to meditate, I went to this Zen retreat, and I was on this second, third day or something, and something happened in my brain. Like I remember this completely because before that moment, it was like that. It was like I had no control. But when you do Zen meditation, which is one of these, and I'll get into the different ones, you learn how to stop your mind, right? Like from all this craziness, and it's a profound thing because you're now able to hear and think like your real self, and that's kind of the point to meditation, is to get you to the point where you control your mind. It's not controlling you. You control your emotions. They don't control you. You know what I mean? You control who you are. So let's just talk about this. There's different aspects to this. When you meditate, let's just talk about the position. Uh, Meditation isn't about pain. I know people are like, you got to be in this lotus position and all this. No, you don't. You want to be in it. You should be able to meditate in any position, no matter what it is. So if it's laying down, if it's sitting down, I actually use what they call a meditation stool. So you can
Hmm.
see this here. You just kind of sit on this on the floor. You put a pad underneath, and you meditate.
Yeah, I just sat on a chair. Yeah.
You sit on a chair.
Hmm.
I can't sit, just so that's why I'm standing, because of my car accidents I was in. I
Hmm.
have a really hard time sitting in an L
Okay.
position.
Okay.
Um, so for me, I lay down, I sit on my stool and that kind of thing. Um, and then the idea is you do different types of breathing techniques to kind of help you. There's a bunch of them listed here: deep hold, slow in and out, these kind of different techniques. So the first basic form of meditation is what they call mindfulness. You've heard this,
Hmm.
mindfulness, like being present. Let's just talk about that for a second, because I think it's misunderstood a lot of times in our society. What it really means is what you're trying to do is just be present in this moment, and you're going to separate all the things you have to do, right? That's beyond this moment, and all the things that you have done that's behind you, right? You're just going to put all that out. I call it, in the book, we talk about my time, where you have time for yourself. You can think and do whatever you want. This is one of those moments of my time. So when you're meditating, this first level is for you just to be conscious of yourself in this one state, right? And you do that through your breathing. You just focus on your breathing. You can do that. You can focus on a light in front of you, like a candle. You can close your eyes and focus on just a light in your mind. That's it. Just picture a sun and just sit with that for a second. And what that's doing for you, if you're finding that really hard, that's the issue, right? It's like a muscle. You're trying to stop this mind from going in all these other directions. So you're trying to focus it, right? That's stage 1, right? The next stage is what I call control. Now, I use this as kind of a healing technique. I use this when I was in a car accident, okay, very bad, rear-ended, sitting at a stoplight from behind, 60 miles an hour, ruptured disc in my back, ruptured my hip, smashed up in my body, all these kind of things. And um, to heal myself, they wanted to do surgery. I decided not to go that route. I found a good doctor through therapy and me doing things I could fix myself. So um, what I was able to do, and it's kind of like this healing technique where you can envision, again, it's control. So you're going to take this light in your body, you can envision this in many different ways. I move a light through my body, healing myself from my toes all the way up through my arms, my brain. You can do that. You can also gather all the darkness in your body into a little ball behind your throat and then breathe it out. You can breathe it out into a disc like a sun and have it converted into positive energy that's then flowing into you. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I talk about this in the book. And you can use different types of elements. Like you can envision, another way to do this, envision boxes in a row. And you can see all the problems of your life as boxes, or even one horrible looking, box that's flowing with lava and all this kind of stuff. Can you shrink that? Can you change it into a small, tiny box, make it a light color and push it backwards and have it disappear? It's these mental exercises. When we communicate with our subconscious and our greater self, a lot of times we do it through imagery. Jung called it archetypes. It's like the wise old man, the sun represented good, darkness representing bad, all these kind of imagery. If you use them properly in your mind, it communicates things to your subconscious and will help you change yourself. So like I said, mindfulness is the first one. Control is the second one. You're healing, you're fixing yourself. The third one is this Zen one that we kind of mentioned, where it's the stillness. So you go and you clear your mind, you heal yourself, and then it's like, just sit. I picture this in my head like one of two ways. So I've cleared myself of all the negativity through, being surrounded by suns, and it just kind of burns it out of me. And then I become the sun. When I say become the sun, you can meditate to where you're omnidirectional, like and it's kind of weird. It took me a long time to get there, but you can see in all directions at the same time in your mind. You can be on the fringes of the light. You can be in the center of the sun. And this whole idea of you as one light being, and just sit there and let it clear yourself, is how I was able to envision it. There are other ways to do it.
That's
The
interesting.
yeah, go ahead.
I read about that in the book Siddhartha, when he mentions being able to imagine himself as different animals and stuff.
Okay, we can, and again, you can use animals. I do that too.
Yeah.
My animals.
Just another example. Yeah.
Yeah, are I'm a tiger and a turtle.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so then this idea of you becoming this light and purity and cleansing yourself and healing yourself and controlling, this is all affecting your mind. It's like aligning yourself. So then the next one is called focused. Now, this is where we pay attention to something of meaning. People call them, you can have mantras, you can say things over and over again. The first sheet of this, you can't really probably see it very well, but there's all sorts of called affirmations. An affirmation is present, personal, and positive. Meaning we say something and it's about making our life better. Like on the sheet, we say, like I am peaceful, I am happy, I am rational, I am, one with myself, whatever it may be. So you can have all sorts of positive affirmations that you run through, and the sheet is filled with them. The 10 laws that are in the book can be made into affirmations, so you can say those. You can make up anything you want. There's also this idea of a power word. This is through certain types of meditation techniques. Some people will use their kids' names. They'll use all sorts of different things. And if you say this over and over and over again, it kind of brings you into the state of oneness. And if it's really a positive, good thing, that can help you. So that's the fourth technique of focused meditation. And then the fifth technique is what we would call visualization. So you're meditating. Imagine your life, from the moment you wake up, from when you go to sleep, or certain tasks, or certain, maybe you're going to give a speech in the future. Visualize you doing these things perfectly. Like the ultimate way you would like to do it. Like, just if you're like, oh, I got to have a conversation with my boss later. You don't have to picture the exact words, but just visualize the conversation going the exact way you want it to go, and you're leaving the office feeling great. Imagine you hitting the ball, it being a home run after home run after home run, if you're a baseball player, whatever it may be, the most positive aspect, and go over that. So those are the kind of the 5 different ways to meditate. There's mindfulness, control, clearing, focused, and visualization. And the way I use these, I like to meditate after I work out. So we talk about the daily way, which is the 5th step of the way. It's about you creating your ultimate day, right? should seem obvious that you perfecting the way you live your day will help you become a better person. That's how we integrate these different virtues and best practices into our life. And part of that, obviously, you need to care for your body. There's different times in the day that you need to train yourself. It's just stretching up and warming up and developing your body. And as part of that is developing your mind. So you need to take moments to meditate. I like doing it like after I work out really hard. It seems like much easier. I've run through all of these, one after the next. Sometimes I just stick on one. It just depends on your mood and what you feel like you need to do. You may sit and meditate just on the mindfulness stage. You might just go directly to clearing. You know what I mean? Just go Zen for a while. So it's really what you're feeling. But there's also this idea of traditional moments. And I want to talk about this for a second because it's really important. We as human beings are kind of been brought up incorrectly. If you look at our whole life, it's kind of set up under, for most of humanity, kind of a slavery model in the way that you go to work and we're educated. Sit down, don't move. Listen, if you say or do anything wrong, if you're a second late, you know what I mean? It's all that's not really how humans work. We're meant to move around all day. We're meant to stand up and move our arms, and this is how we can be healthy. So I want you to think about this as you're living your day, right? You can't just sit there all day or stand up all day. You need to do different things to keep yourself healthy. So when you're moving, what I call traditional moments, you're going from, let's say you're sitting at your desk and you have to go to the restroom. That moment that you get up from your desk and you go to the restroom and you come back, those are traditional or transitional moments. You can use those moments to move around. You can do mini meditations. You can align yourself with your greater purpose. If you use your life properly, you won't have to work out so much. You'll be a better, healthier person. And this is really important, this whole movement aspect, because so many people are stagnant, especially in Western societies. There are glands in your body that if they're not like squeezed, that's how if you don't move around and exercise, they don't get activated. And a lot of problems with, I can't remember the name of the thyroid gland. These type of glands, they need that, stress. So you need to get up and do these mini workouts. All of those sheets too are on the website. You can get a whole bunch of mini workout sheets. You can get yoga cards to make your own yoga workouts. I like yoga. You can call it just like all these different ways to stretch and train your body. But there's a whole bunch of different ways to do yoga that'll help you become flexible and strong. And, when we train ourselves, I train very differently. I've been martial artist my whole life. So I do this mental, physical stuff. But most of the time, especially men, we get trained in improper ways to care for our body, and it'll create a lot more problems later. So you got to realize that we're training to be strong, fast, enduring, balanced, graceful, flexible, agile, precise, intense, coordinated, controlled, tough, dexterous, and ambidextrous. So it's like what you're trying to do is create activities that you kind of develop all these different aspects of your body and your mind so that you can become a well-rounded person. And it will help you live longer and a healthier life, because most of the problems when you age come from not being flexible, not being strong, not have cared for your body properly throughout your life. So hopefully that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Does that give you what you need? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. When I do meditation, I use the Waking Up app with Sam Harris, and one of the things that he stresses is the fact that when you're meditating, you're not trying to like completely like force thoughts out of your mind. What you do is you sit there, and when the thoughts come in, you simply observe the thought. You look at the space that it takes up in the mind, and then you watch as it naturally just disappears on its own. Like, you just observe it like a passive observer. Yeah.
Yeah. You just let it pass through.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And eventually those will come less and less,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll just stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I was advised too, when you first start meditating, and when I meditate a lot, sometimes I'll have like big thoughts and it'll be like answers to a question, or so have a pad next to you. And those are part of the reason why you're meditating, is so you can quiet your mind and then really hear what you need to hear. So, if you have great insights, don't think, oh, I just realized this, I got to write. No, that's part of the point. So take those moments and realize that, that's what you're doing. I don't personally like guided meditations. I like guiding myself. I always find those guided meditations a little, I don't know, irritating. So it just depends on you. If you like that. people want me to do some guided meditations for them.
I
you know, to walk.
generally agree, but I generally agree. I like the Waking Up app. I think it's just different than other guided
I'll have to
meditations.
check
You know,
that
he has
out.
a really
Yeah,
good voice. Um, yeah,
yeah,
Waking Up. Yeah.
waking up. Cool, very cool.